Trading the foreign exchange market carries high risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Trading on margin, utilizing leverage can carry an even higher level of risk that can lead to a complete loss of investment funds. So before deciding to trade the foreign exchange market or using any of our software alert products, you should carefully and diligently consider your personal investment objectives, level of experience, and risk tolerance. There is a possibility that you could potentially sustain significant loss. You should not invest any capital or trade that you cannot afford to lose. It is your responsibility to be aware of and understand all risks associated with foreign exchange trading and to seek professional advice from an independent certified financial advisor if you have any doubts. Auvoria Prime does not exercise trading authority over your trades. You and you alone exercise discretionary trading authority over every trade.
And today is Tuesday, June 22nd, and we do have a red folder here at 2 p.m. with the U.S. Fed Chairman Powell testifies. Other than that, it looks like it's a pretty quiet day in the foreign exchange market. So we'll just keep that in mind. Nothing major going on today with that. Let's check out the let's check out our heat map, and we're going to see that right now, with looking like the New Zealand and Aussie are strong. Those are two strong pairs, and the Canadian and yen is the weaker ones on the lower time frames. Let's see what is on this one. Let's see if I can slide this one up. The Canadian yen is the weak, so we're going to be trading with the strength of the New Zealand and Aussie, and the Canadian yen will be the weaker pairs that we'll be looking at. We're not going to put a whole lot of weight on right at this moment, but when we have a trade that includes any one of those pairs, we'll trade it in that direction. We try not to trade counter to what we have the strength on the charts. So let's go to the charts and let's check and see if there's any news, any alerts coming in. So Aussie Swiss, check that one out. So we have an Aussie Swiss trade. We have a bounce arrow go, but the go looks like it's going to be into the top zone. It's only 3 pips away. Not a trade there. You're on a 15-minute chart, 3 pips away from our target area, and no trade with that. Let's go back and try another one. And I'm not seeing, there's a 15-minute German 30. I finally got my German 30 working again yesterday.
Oh, good.
Well, I did find out, which I probably should have known this before, but I didn't. For some reason, it didn't click. There's a DE30, which is the cash, and then there's the GER30, which is the German DAX index. Two different animals, apparently, because the DE30 will not trade round the clock. The German 30 apparently will. So I found that out.
Is that just on
with Lucor? Well, I tried to close out some trades manually, and it said that the market was closed on the DE30. So I have a feeling that that does not trade around the clock, and the platform was working. So anyway, keep that in mind.
I thought they were the same thing, to be honest.
Well, I thought they were too, but apparently they're not.
Huh.
So anyway, we're looking at the German 30 right now. Right now, it really looks like a bounce and arrow. Here's a red zone up at the top on a 15-minute chart. From the bounce to the arrow to the top, looks like we have about a $22 move. That's enough room to take the trade. So let's take a look at this and just analyze this a little bit closer. I'm going to start with a fresh chart here. I'm going to pull up my template, load it. And we're going to start right from a fresh chart. I'm going to look and see what my range is. So I usually start with the 15-minute chart. I'm going to see what the range from the low to the high in this case, and see where the major zones are, where we have, I want the price in between where the zones I'm drawing. So from this pivot to this pivot, it looks like we have about, it looks like it's about $165 or euro move. So that's a nice little range. So I'm going to draw my Fibonacci's from my higher time frame zones, from this pivot down here up to this pivot up here. And I'm going to expand this out a little bit so I can see a little bit better what we've got going. And so up here is the upper 25%, which is, we are in the upper 25% right now. So you have to be a little bit careful of the fact this zone is in that range. So if it's it could very well not make it up to that, but we're going to draw our zones and see where we're shading our areas. And we're going to put our would mark the upper 25% of this range. These are our higher time frame zones that we draw. And draw into insert with the bottom side of the upper 25 and lower 25. And that's going to be down here at this area. And then we're going to mark our middle thirds. There's a 38% retracement. Here's a 50% retracement. Here's our 61% retracement. And this is the area, these three orange lines are where the price will generally resort back to once it hits these upper zones. Now, my concern about this one is right now is that we have this red zone right up here, which is at pretty much, I think that might be near an all-time high if I'm not, no, it's got a little ways to go still. So it actually does have some room to the upside. That's good. And we're going to scroll down to our lower time frame and see where we have a pullback. And you saw that we did have a arrow off of this area, off this candle right here. So it's at the open of this, and you have a little bit of a pullback right now. So I'm just going to make a little note of that little area. I'll have to change the color of this, but to do this, this was the open of where the arrow was. And I'm going to change the color of this just so we don't get things too confusing. And mark this with a aqua. So that's where the arrow alert was. We have the arrow, there's 30, it bounced, and this would be the go to the next zone. We did have some room, but what we're looking at right now, the fact we had the arrow, that's a good thing. But we're looking at this little pullback. So I'm going to go to a lower time frame, go to the 1 minute. You can see where this was the close. The close was right on this was the open of the candle. We have a nice little pullback. Here's a nice leg up, retracement, pulls back. Here's our trend line. So we're going to draw our trend line, look for a wedge. Here's the anchor, here's a hit, here's another hit. If this trend line holds, then I would say we have good room for the upside. We're going to look at these moving averages. We have our arrow moving average. We have our 5 period, our 13 period, our 62, and our 200. All are in the right direction, but we do have a little cross right now where the 5 and the 13 have crossed over. We're going to see what happens when it bounces off of this trend line. If it bounces off the trend line and these two moving averages switch in directions where the green, get the green on top, the yellow, the blue, if we can get those in the right order, then we can take this trade to come up here to our zone, which would be where the target would be. So right now we're just looking at pullback. I'm going to see if this trend line holds, and then we're going to take it from there. But right now there's a little bit of some buying pressure right in this area. So we're not going to take this trade just yet, but we're going to be monitoring it here pretty closely, see if we can get into this thing. The thing I don't like about this trade is it's already came up into our upper 25% zone. It's coming back out. And also what we're looking at for is once it gets in the zone, comes back out of the zone and comes back in, we're looking for a wedge to start forming. We're looking for a lower high, get a hit, a lower high, and you can see where it's sort of consolidating right now. If you can look and see where this is where it came back. It came out of the zone, came back up, tagged the zone, came back up. And right now, this is a point of indecision right now. Is this thing going to break to the downside? If it breaks to the downside, then we're going to be looking for it to come break, retest the wedge, and then come back down. And this would be our target would be to the downside. And we'll look and check and see what the strength of the euro is. And that usually gives us some indication of what we'd be looking at. And so the euro is weak. Right now it's about in the middle on the higher. It's weak on the lower time, on the highest time frame. It's right in the middle on the middle time frames, and so it's getting If the euro was weak, I'd be looking for it to go short. If the euro was strong, excuse me, if the euro is weak, I'd be looking for it to go long. If the euro is strong, I look for it to go short. And so right now it's kind of in the middle, so there really is no clear direction on the euro part of it. So here's our balance. There's a push up. And I think with this one, we could probably, if it closes above where the arrow alert was, which it did, pull back, I'm going to do a buy stop right about in this area here. And if it comes up, and just see if we can get us into this trade. The buy stop, check it out and see if it comes in. If it comes up, gets us into it, then we'll be looking for that for a target. I'm going to keep my stop down here below this little pivot area. Right now, I'm not in the trade yet. I don't think. Nope. Still waiting to get filled. And then the target's going to be up here at the red zone. And there is no other zone right here between. This is where the 15-minute zone was. It's also where the 5-minute zone is, or the 1-minute zone. And there's enough room to the upside, and it looks like there's probably enough pressure too. So if it comes in, gets us into the trade. We already had the pullback. We had the alert. Came back in, closed above where the alert was, and we put our entry just above that area. So if it comes up, it should come to a nice little drive right on up into it, the zone. If it can't break through this little horizontal line that we have here, if it can't break through this little part, then we may stall and we may have to get out of this thing a little bit earlier. It's a little bit more of a risk being up into these upper 25%. I don't want to be buying in the fact we still have lots of room to the upside. If you looked at these higher time frames, you can see there was still lots of room to the upside. These are some upper targets where this thing was, and you can also draw another wedge off of this. Here's the high. Here's a retest. So this would be, we'll use this to be the anchor. There's the first hit, lots of hits right through there. This is really the upper part of the zone, which is well above where our target is going to be. So right now, this is a nice rally, pull back, and this thing could possibly go all the way up to the 88. It could go all the way up into this upper zone, which is be up in this area, up in here, up to this red zone. So the fact we have lots of room to the upside, I'm okay taking this trade, even though it's in this little temporary little 20% range that's been in overnight. That's pretty much where the overnight zone was. Let's see here. So we'll see, take a look at this. And where did my trade go?
I don't know if you had a trade on this platform, did you?
Oh, I thought I did. Oh, wait, is it? No, that's the MB. I'm on the MB. All right, what's going on here? Into it on something else?
You didn't do it on TradingView, did you?
I don't think I did. Let's see, I do not see the German 30 anywhere. All right, I'll look and see if it even filled.
Oh, you did look earlier, and you had said that it hadn't triggered yet. So
I know, but I should still see it in the queue list down here. I'm not seeing it. No, I did not happen. No,
yeah,
let me try this again.
I didn't see you take one on here, to be honest with you.
Well, I didn't take it, but it was in the queue. It was in the.
I didn't see that either. No, I didn't
You
see
didn't?
that. No.
All right. Well, let's see. Let's try this again. I'm gonna go to the 1-minute chart. Here's where the alert was. It came. Well, maybe it already triggered. Maybe it already went. Did it already close out? Maybe. I don't think it did. for some reason it didn't get triggered and it didn't get taken.
Maybe you deleted it.
Either that or it got in and got out. I didn't have the.
No, it looks like you probably deleted it in error.
I probably did. Yeah, that's probably what happened. Well, okay. Well, probably just as well. It looks. But here's where the entry was. Here's where the entry was. But actually, this thing probably could have gone. It was up. Went up. It went up $8 in about 1 minute. So actually, that would have been a good trade for what we normally usually go for. Usually go for 5 or 7 pips. Anyway, here's the pullback. That was a note. That was a non-trade there. So anyway, I did have it set, but for some reason, I must have closed it out accidentally.
Yeah, I didn't even see it there, so it must have been done pretty quickly.
Now this is a little bit of a head fake right here. We had the high. It came out of the 20%, came up, broke this, but didn't close above, just wicked above. Basically, I was just looking for some stops. I believe it looks what I would say. So we have this little. This is a little bit of a divergence. We have a higher high, and higher wick, no close. The close is still lower, and now it's starting to make its way back down again. So, and we also have this trend line right now, this bottom trend. So here is the anchor. Here's the hit. Now we're going to see if this is going to hold. Now we do have our 62 moving average right down here. All the moving averages are starting to consolidate. It's looking to me like this thing wants to go to the downside. But we'll see what happens here. And we have another trend that you can see where this was the origin of this big move. Here's the origin, came up, came back down, retested it. That's a pullback back into the 20% zone I talk about. And now it's in an upward channel. It's an upward channel, and back down to see if it's going to come out of the 20, come up, retest this orange line, or be looking for, these are our targets to the downside. So as this thing makes its way out of the zone, we're going to be looking for a little pullback. So again, I'm going to go to have it move down, come back down. Have it come back and retest. We don't know where that's going to go. But looking at the 62, this is the 62 moving average on the 1 minute. Now that's not, it's on a 1 minute, so it's not going to be a real strong zone, but nonetheless, it's there to be paid attention to. Here's our break, close below this trend. Here's our retest. Now, if it can break through here, we have room to the downside to the 20 to our target zones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a buy stop, a sell stop in here. We'll try this again. I'm going to right click, trade, sell stop. There's my line. If it comes in, gets me into the trade, and then my target is going to be the 15,598 area. So I'm going to modify this to target 15,598. Modify, and the target's down here. And my stop is going to be pretty much up here above where this last pivot was. I'll use 15,633. But before I do that, I got too big of a position on here. I need to close this out real quick. If I can. Delete the order. I'm going to change my value here. This should be a 0.05. Now I'll do this again. Trade, sell stop. Target 15,598. It's always a little bit more complicated on my laptop. I just don't seem to have quite the 15,598. And my target and my stop will be 15,635. Well, 15,635.
No, not there.
Oh, wrong one.
Yeah.
Thank you. 15,635.
That won't change the price now, will it? No.
May not.
No, yeah, you have to put it back to where it got in. 15,611.60.
15,6, 1235. And target's going to be, and we're not in this trade yet either. The target's be 15,598. 15,598. Modify it. So we're not in this trade yet. We're gonna wait for this to come back. Now it's back into the wedge again. So that could nullify this trade. And we'll see if it can make a lower high. See if this wedge will hold. It already broke through this trend line. It broke through this pivot, but it didn't really get it closed below this pivot right here where the first hit up was. Again, this could be another fake out, just like the upper part was a fake out. Let's see who's playing games with us this morning. Here's our low wedge. Let's see what the euro is doing. Euro is stronger, kind of strong on the higher time frames. Euro is starting to gain some strength. It's kind of right in the middle here on the 15. Stronger, a little bit stronger on the 30-minute. If I get a higher close off of this pivot high, then I'll probably pull this trade. Anything else we need to look at while we're waiting around on this one?
Let's have a look at the S&P if you don't mind.
S&P. Our friend, the S&P. Yes.
The S&P
it just kind of chugged along yesterday, and it's now basing up here at the top. It's coming up into our 25%, so it still hasn't got me break even on this trade I had. Right now I'm in this. I have a short here and I have a buy here, and right now I'm stabilized on my trade. As soon as I can get this buy back to break even or a little bit higher, I'll close that one out, and then I'll wait for another pullback to take another position short on the sell to help dollar cost average the sell. Right now I like the fact that my sell position is inside these three orange zones. So once it comes up into this blue area, it should come back down and get me back to at least a break even on my short position. And if I can get a good entry, I can take another short, get down dollar cost average, and that way my break even will be even higher still. So that's kind of what I'm doing with that one. But right now,
those orange lines, Al, are they valid today, or did you draw those on there today, or is this?
I drew them yesterday, but they're probably still valid because it's still within the same range.
Okay.
So they're still valid. And actually looks like this have a little bit of a push to the upside because we have a little bit of a trend. Here's a pivot, here's a hit, here's a hit. I can actually move this trend line over a little bit. We had to break this downward trend, came back up, and now it's basing right in this area. And we'll see what's going to do. Let's see where we don't have a arrow yet. I'm just going for 50 minutes see if there's any arrow. There's a down arrow, up arrow, but right now it's in between. It's the arrows don't really mean much to me on this one right now. Up to a lower time frame. Here's a bounce arrow go, but it had the nice pullback. So now it's sort of trending in this area. So as it's working its way up to this zone, you can see where it had a zone bounce. And it's starting to trend. Here's a nice little move up, pull back. We can do a reverse Fibonacci on this, where we have from here to here. Had a pullback. This was the first little pullback we talked about once it leaves the zone. And now we can move this Fibonacci up to this one. We have this low range right now. Now I'm going to move this anchor down here to where the origin of this was. Now I'm looking for a little bit of a pullback Here's a high. I'm looking for the pullback, at least 23%. I'm looking at the 23 to the 50 area. And it's going to be 23 to the 50 areas right in here. And if this thing can pull back into the 38, so that I'm looking for a target. My target's going to be up in this area, the 38. Inserts.
So now it did show a slight pullback. Do you not consider that as the pullback itself?
Well, I am looking at,
I'm looking at the 23 and the 38 already.
Yeah, it pulled back to 20. Yeah, it did. Now I'm looking to see, but I've got this little wick right here. I like to see it close above that first before we take it. Okay. We have this nice little wick here. It pulled back to the 23. It didn't really pull back to the 38, only pulled back to the 23. Yeah. But they also have that wick. So right now I'm not convinced. Plus we're sitting right up here to the upper zone. And I don't know that that's only about a $2 move to the red zone. So right now I'm okay with the fact that I'm happy about seeing it go up higher because I've got that trade that I want to get out of. I'm not sure I'd want to take a new trade into this area because of this bounce off of that. And if we redrew it from this pivot high, this was all the way back in, what's the date today? Today's 23rd?
22nd today.
22nd today. So that was back in about 1 o'clock this morning. That's pretty much right around the London Open. It had the overnight high, it made a new high, dropped back down again overnight, and now it's retesting the high for the overnight high in the London session. So it is kind of moving in the right direction, but it's moving very slowly. Yesterday, it just sort of crawled all day yesterday. And
seems to be like wedging.
Yeah, it just sort of like this is all from all overnight to now. This is just going flat. Yesterday, it had a nice push up early in the morning, and then it just kind of slowly crept up to the top here, and then it came back down. So this red zone, I think, is valid. I'm not going to take a new trade, but I'm going to be looking at trying to get out my older trades with this one. Any questions? We can look into something else here. And we're still not in the German. Let's see, where's the German 30 at? Check that one out. That one's still kind of going a wedge. A little higher, lower highs, higher lows. We did get a little bit of a breach of this one, but I'm going to, so I'm going to move this one down. We have the zone, and we're going to just see it right now. It's between this area right in here.
When you get a moment, Al, can you check out the Euro US?
Euro US. And we'll start this one from scratch. Let's see where we're at here. Let's take a look and see where we drew the fib lines. We had this high, this low. So we drew it from, actually it's over here. Again, this one's still valid from yesterday. It's in a it's just going in a really tight sideways range right now. This was from Friday's high to Friday's low, and right now it's in between that whole range. This is our target, so it never really came up to the, actually did come up to the upper 25. Here's our upper zone right in here. I've got moving averages set. Let me double check, get the zones in here. So here's our upper 25. You can see overnight it did kind of peek its nose up into that area. Here's the upper zone. Came up, rejected it, came back down into our target zones, left the target zone, came back up, formed a little bit of a wedge right in here on the upper part. Now, this is all from the overnight action on this. You see it's all still consolidating. Here's our higher moving average. All our moving averages are all bundled together within a matter of, let's see, that's only in like a 8 pip area. The moving averages are consolidating. As we get the break and get more of a confirmation of which direction it's going to go, if we can get a 5-minute close, came on up, pulled back out, came back up, retested the zone. And if we get a 5-minute close into this orange line, then I'd be looking for a target to this line on a pullback. So from here, it did retest the hit. So here's the anchor. Actually, there's a pivot high, lower high, lower high. And now it's into our zones where it likes to hang out. So I'm going to go to on the 1-minute chart.
And it looks like you also have a 5-minute wedge set up there too.
That is 5. Let's see, where's the 5-minute here? Yep, we sure do. This looks like it's coming back down. Here's a little drop, a little base. This thing looks like it could go to the downside.
Downside,
Euro US.
Yep. Downside.
Let's see where the Euro US is. The Euro US is. US is getting stronger. Euro is weaker. US is stronger. So I want to take this to the downside. So we have confirmation there. So on this little move right now, if we get a 5-minute close, which I think we just did, not quite. It's very, very close on that. I like to see this 5-minute candle close. If we can see a nice little pullback, and I can maybe do a sell stop down here and looking at this for the target. We have 7 pips to the target, 8 pips to zone. That's a little tight from what I prefer to have. You can see we're bouncing right off of some green zones right here. But this is a nice move down. It came out of the upper area, hit the target, hit the trend line, pull back down, looking for the retrace. So from here, I'm gonna draw from this move to the bottom, looking for it to retrace the 23 to 50%. If it does, I'll take the trade with a tight stop. So here's my entry zones. This is the entry. Oops. This will be the entry zone right in here. Here's the 23s. Here's the 50. I want to see it come on up, and if it can come up there, then I can take. Then I'll look for a. I like to be able to have a target enough. No, boy, that's tight. That's awfully tight. I need to have this thing pulled back at least. It's either got to break these zones, and oh boy, if this is my target, I want 15 pips below. So I want to see it pull back almost to a retest here. This is really pretty tight right now. I could probably handle to the 61. If it comes up and rejects the 61, I may take a shot at this one. But we have all these little zones right in here that are kind of in the way. And we really didn't get a good 5-minute close below this area.
What's your 15-minute chart look like?
15-minute.
Just a quick look. Overall trends down. Okay.
All right. Yeah, overall trends down. We had our moving averages are. If I get the 1-minute moving average has to be in the right direction, and right now it is. We've got the green, the yellow, the blue, but we're right here at the 200 moving average. So it's sort of testing. Yeah, I still have to wait for this one.
I'd wait. Put it in your favor.
Yeah. If this move holds, if this is a good move, it really should not come real deep into this down move if it's going to keep on going. Right now it's retesting 200. It's below the 200. It's below the arrow moving averages. All of our moving averages are in the right direction. And we're just looking for the pullback. So right now it's pulling back into the 38. So we have the 38. Now we're looking at 38 to 61. And then we'll see how deep it pulls back. If it pulls back to the 6, if it pulls back to the 50, then our target's going to be down here at the bottom of this, and that would give us enough. Still pretty tight, but I might take a shot at it.
Now, do you want it to close above the 50?
I just wanted to. It can wick above the 50 as long as it doesn't close above the 61.
Okay.
If it wicks up to the 61 and closes above the 61, then I'll probably be looking for another retest, another re-challenge of this trend line. But right now, this could just be a really strong, we're not sure how strong this bounce is going to be. And it never really did get up into the 25% zone. So this thing could still be trying to work its way up. I like it with the fact that the dollar was strong. The dollar is the second currency of the pair. And right now we had a nice strong move down. Hit our entry, our zone, our orange zones, which is where our targets are. We have the 3 zones here. But it's got 3 levels of green that's got to get through in order to get down there. And right now I need to get a close below this green moving average.
Your S&P's moving north. Big candle.
Is it?
Yep.
And we'll see where this this is the Euro US. And so I'm going to see a 5-minute, I'm going to see a close. I like to see a 5-minute candle close. And that's going to be right about in, let's see, I'm on a 1-minute chart, so I've got to look for the open of the 1510 candle. So the 1509 candle on this 1-minute chart, if it closes below this line, that means the 5-minute candle closed, and then we have room to take it, and we can take it. Check our heat map and make sure we still have the strength of the dollar. Dollar still strong. The euro is still relatively weak. So, all right, try to see where a lower trend is. Yeah, we got that. Get the 5-minute candle close. If it pulls back to the orange line, I'll take the trade. I still need to get the range to get into the trade to make it profitable. Now we do have 3 levels here, so we could, I mean, still looking at this area down here, that would give us our 15 pips. So we'd have to get through these green zones. On the 1-minute chart, that still could be a very doable thing. And we'll see how this candle closes. Right now we're at the 1509 candle. When this one closes, it opens up on the new 5-minute candle. We'll see where this, if this thing can close. Close below. Here's the open. I'll go try to take a shot at this thing short. Euro US. And we're going to go for 15 pip stop, 7 pip target. My stop is way up here into the blue zone. If it breaks this other trend line, we have a low, here's an anchor, here's a lower, here's a high, lower high, lower high. If it breaks this zone right here, I'll probably pull the trade, because that means it's probably going up to maybe retest that upper zone. As long as it stays below this zone that we had here, we're wicked up, then I should be okay with the trade. If not, we'll cut our losses short. And move on. And so we have these green zones that are going to be a little bit of a problem to get through. But once it starts to break, it'll probably break pretty quickly. And we actually have a little bit of an upper zone from this strong move down. Let's see if we can do this on 15 minutes, see what that looks like. This was the overnight high. It is starting to trend a little bit here. Maybe draw this. Here's the overnight high from here to here. Just take it over this way. There's yesterday's low, this overnight high, and we're kind of in the middle here. 61, need to change that color. No, just keep it for right now. There's an orange zone. There's one, there's two. That's where the trading view gets, MT4 gets a little bit complicated when you try and change things. Here's the upper 25. This is from the overnight high, came back up, wicked it in, left it, came back up. We have our little trend going on up here at the top. And we have the lower trend coming in. Here's the first pullback, second pullback came on this little area here. Here's a rally, base rally, came back down to retest this area right in here. Looks like it's coming back down to retest it one more time. There you go, that's what I want. Go to our 1 minute chart and see what kind of a price action we have. We have a bounce arrow go, but it's, again, this goes right into this zone right here. It does look like this area is going to break down. All of our moving averages have consolidated. They're starting to break apart. And this could be a nice little trade. We can, as long as we keep our stop well above this trend line right here, we should be fine. And we have it way up here. I can actually pull this back a little bit more. Tighten up my stop a little bit. If it breaks this consolidation area, it's probably going to start going the wrong direction. I'm going to say we did get the 5 minute close on that other time frame we were looking at. Let's just see, we probably have it on this one now too. We did get the 5 minute close below this orange area. And we'll look and see if it pulls back down. We have a high, lower high. So we have a secondary trend going from this area. My stop is above that. And we'll see what it does. Actually, I prefer to keep the stop a little bit higher here because this is still the main trend line right here, and it's still got me well off harm's way. I don't want to get too tight. But as you can see right now, so far it's respecting that they respected this trend line. And so right now it's only 3 pips against us right now, so that's still well within the tolerance. And see the German 30 is still not doing anything. Let's see what that looks like. I'm just going to go ahead and pull this trade. I'll reassess that one. It's still up here at this upper 25% zone, so we're just going to let that one go for right now. Let's see if we can find anything else. Nothing there. Nothing there. And then let's see. No one asked about gold yet today. I'm surprised.
The day is young.
Yeah. In 15 minutes. Let's see. Let's take a look at gold here real quick. Let's see what the range in gold is here. This is it's only a $16 range. I probably took a little bit higher than that. I like this pivot high. I like this pivot low. I like looking at days pivot highs and lows where it was trading in between a daily range. Here's this high to this low. First, we're going to draw our Fibonacci's or our moving averages. There's a moving average, and then we're going to slide this over if I can. Let me move this one. We use this high, this low. Here's the upper range. And we do have a little zone right up inside that range. Looks like our Euro US is starting to behave a little bit. There's our lower range right here. And like I said, we're trying to find out how's it going sideways between two higher, lower pivot points and try and find out where the middle is, because it comes up the upper range, comes back into the middle, goes the lower range, comes back into the middle. Pretty consistently. So you find those higher time frame zones. And then you look for when it leaves the upper or lower area with a strong move up, you wait for the pullback to get in, and then you start looking for these as our targets. Came up into the blue zone, pulled back. Here's our wedge right up in here. Here's a retest. Now it's back into the zone. Now we'll see now we're looking for this thing. Now we're looking for pullbacks coming in. Here was the first pull. Here's the first range. Here's the first pullback. Here's the second one. It should be getting another pullback. Go to a lower time frame and see how this thing started to trend. So we still have another orange zone down here. So we're looking for this thing to, all of our moving averages in the right direction. We're looking for that strong move down first. Actually, kind of like this one. I'll take it from this point to here, and I'll keep moving it down and see where it's coming into our zone right now. Go to a 5-minute chart and see what we have for a 5-minute close below here. I like this move down. Came back up. It's retesting. It's retesting this one right now. Draw a fib from here to here and see where the pullback's going to go. Here's our first target. So I'm going to check and see. I'd like to see. I'd have to see a $5 move on this one. So that'd be $5. $10 move would be all the way up to this area. Pretty much a retest of this trend line. A little too tight for a trade. I'd like to see at least 10. In fact, I don't even like trading gold, but that's what I'd be looking at here. Lots of green zones down here. It does have the downward pressure. Once this thing gets done going down, I'm going to be looking to see how far it pulls back, looking for the 23 to 50 pullback, and then maybe get another chance at this target down in this area. Right now we have to wait and see how far it gets down, where it pulls back. I find my zone. Looking for my pullback zone. Again, I like to see the 23 to 50. I'm going to see wherever it wicks up. I want to see where it closes, and then I want to have my stop above the next zone. Here's the 50% right there. So right now it's ranging inside all three of these orange lines. So I said I'm gonna wait for the pullback and see if it's going to retest this, and then see if it goes down to maybe come back down into this lower 25% zone. But nothing right now. We're still waiting for this thing to set up. Nothing real conclusive on that one. Showing a 5-minute sell on gold. Just got the arrow. Actually, that's the second arrow right now. And it's coming right into the zone right here. And that's not even $1 move away. So I need to see more of a pullback before I would take this trade. Markets have been very tight ranged here these last few weeks, which does cause a little bit of problems if you're trying to get into some trades that oftentimes it just doesn't have quite the range to make it worthwhile taking the trade. Let's check out our Euro US while we're waiting here. So far, it looks like it's got some downward pressure. Here's it. It did give us a little bit of a head fake up here. Starting to break down. Here's my target. And so we did get the 5-minute close below, pulled back, come back down, see if we get another 5-minute close again. It's going to be right about in the, that's going to be another 4 minutes still. Nice little move down, coming down. There goes the first green zone. See if it come down into this Fibonacci target. Here's my target. I'll see if it come down close and to get into it. If it comes in and bounces and can't quite close it out, I'll close it out myself. But right now I gave it a 7 pip range for a target. The entry was at 1893 and my target is at 1886, that's 7 pips. This is a nice little move down. If we have from this move to this retracement, we go and draw our fibs from here to here and pull back into the, pretty much it just wigged right above the 50% line. So come down here to the 50% overshoot, which is going to be right about where my target is. That's going to be right in here. 50 to 61 right in there. And a lot of times I'll just move this thing up just a little, about halfway to the zone, just to give it a little bit, lead the trade a little bit. And we'll see if it can break through this green zone. If it breaks through that green zone, it should. My target is basically looking to see it come back down and retest this orange fib line. So far, so good. Right now, we're profitable. Our moving averages are moving apart. That's a good sign. And right now, I could probably move my stop all the way down to this area. Here's where the wick was, to the highest wick before it started moving back down. So I can take it just, here's the zone, here's the 50% zone, it wicked up into that, couldn't close above it. And I'll put my stop halfway between the next zone, above the 61 and the 78. That keeps it well off harm's way. And if it starts reversing on me before I get my target, then I'll just get out of the trade. Right now, this trend line right here is has a, oh, that's the wrong one. Here's the anchor, here's the deer hit, here's the hit. That's the third hit on the trend line, coming back down to looking for my target. If it breaks this trend line, I'm out of the trade. That means it's losing this downward pressure. And we'll wait. And it looks like gold's doing much the same thing. Look, bouncing off of the green zones, but making new zones. Any other areas of trading looking at potential CAD Swiss? Let's take a look at that one. Again, it's very tight range. Here's the pivot high for Friday's pivot. Here's yesterday's pivot low. This would be the range we're looking at. We have a trend line. Go from here's the low, came back. Here's where it left the zone, came back up, and it looks like we have a trend. And we can go from here. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Here's a pivot low. Here's a pivot. Here's a next hit. Here's the high. Made a lower high. This is the range that we're looking at. And we can take the Fibonacci, see what kind of range we have here between here and here. That's 60 pips. That's a nice range from that. So we can draw our Fibonacci line from this zone to here where the hit was. Draw our trend line, or draw our shaded areas. Here's the lower 25. Let's take it out to here. And the upper 25, which is right to this area. And it's coming into our target zones, which is right here. That's the 1, 2. Keep an eye on my trade here. And 3, there's the 3 zones that we're looking at. Comes out of the upper zone, comes into the middle, comes down from the bottom zone, comes back into the middle and bases. So right now we're looking to see it's coming out of this area. I want to see this thing come out, come back up and retest to give us another little wedge trend line. This one had a little bit higher wick, so I want to see this. This is what I was looking for here. It came out, came back in, came back out. This is the trend that we're looking at right here. Now we can start following this thing down. So from this hit to here, it pulled back to the 50%, looking for a 50% target. So we're looking for the target right down there and then looking for another bounce. Here's where the bounce target is. It moved down, came back up, wicked above the 50%. Our target is the extended 50%, which is down here. It comes back down. And then once it comes back down, look for another pullback. To come back up and see if it maintains this trend up here. It shouldn't take out these highs. If it's going to continue trending, here's a first move, second, third, fourth, fifth. This is almost the 5th wave of this extension, but then we should have another extension coming back, retest it, and should be able to go lower. As we go into these zones, again, I'm looking for a 5-minute close below this one, then look for a pullback. This one, a 5-minute candle. Let's see, wick down, did not close. We still have a few more minutes yet on this one. About the 5-minute candle just closed, and it's closed right at that area. This is where it's important to draw your trend lines accurately. Here's our 23 to 50. We'll see where it can pull back. And then see if we have room to our target. The next target is going to be down here. So we're looking at, these zones are 7 pip zones. So I usually like having 15 pips, but I may go, as long as I can get 7 pips out of it with the spread, we'll take what we can get here. See how much this range is here. I'd like to see a little bit more of it. Needs to see a little bounce off of that. If not, we just don't have an opportunity to get into the trade. Our Euro US is coming very close to my target. I'm at 5 pips right now. I can take that off anytime.
I guess Al had to mute himself momentarily.
I didn't figure everybody want to hear a baby crying in the
Oh,
background.
I thought that was just an upset trader who'd lost money. This is what happens in the summer months. You get upset traders in the background.
Yep. Even if they are only 2 years old.
Yeah, it's all the same.
Negotiating with the 2-year-olds is almost like negotiating with some traders.
Pretty much. You got that right.
Anyway, it looks like we hit our target and we're out of that trade.
Obviously, I've been out of the loop a little bit. Al, are you not using TradingView as often as you were in the past?
Well, I do when I don't do it as often because I've gotten a little bit more comfortable with the MT4, but when I'm on my laptop, it's a lot harder to switch back and forth.
I see. Okay.
But yeah, I do like using the TradingView, and I'll probably start using it more and more as time goes on here. I'm not sure how many people are using TradingView. I think we have a few people that use it, and I certainly like it a lot better. But what's nice about this is I can kind of monitor the trades that way on this. And but this one's has some nice little. Now with this, even like with this Euro US, you can see where it's through the first target, went through the second target. It still has room to the next target, but it's got to get through this zone. So we look and see, do I get 5-minute close below this one, a pullback? So we're going to keep this this one alive here anyway.
Yeah, we're coming up to the opening too.
Yeah. The opening of what time is it?
It's
9:30.
7:40 my time.
40. Yeah, we have another 20 minutes of this session here. So where's my fib line here? I'm going to take some of these fib lines off and redraw some of these, clean it up a little bit.
And you're doing the traditional fib drawing?
Pretty much, yeah. These are the traditional fibs.
Not the other tool that we used in the past. Okay.
Yeah, because I don't have that on this on TradingView. I'll use it on the TradingView. But yeah, we do have another Fibonacci sequence that we use as well. These are just the straight Fibonacci's that we're using. And so I'm looking at this little. Here's where it hit the trend line. Now I'm going to look for it to come down and retest and see how far back it will go. So I'm going to be using this for the fib as it comes down. See where it finds the bottom.
I think we're going to move a little further.
And make them all the way down to this next one here. But if I can just pull, I like having these orange lines.
I like your 1877 number.
1877, this one, yeah, and that's why I like these. I like having enough room in between these orange lines to get 7 pips. So right now there's 8 pips in between. If it's much less than that, you just don't have the room for the pullbacks and the Fibonacci ranges to be able to get your targets. So when I do draw these higher time frame zones, I like to at least see that I have the 7 pips in between where these orange lines are. And so like you can see, like right now, there's basically it's about a 15 pip range from the first one to the last one. And that's where I like to be able to get in. And as you get that 15 pip range, it pulls back 7 pips. I got another 15 pips to target. So this thing can pull back to this one. And that's oftentimes what we'll do is it'll close, pull back, close below, pull back. Sometimes it works back over again. And then it makes its way down as it's working its way down to the 20% target zone, which I don't have drawn here. I said we're just going for a high 5 to 7 pips. Get in, get out, wait for the pullback, try and get back in again, and maybe do that 1 or 2 times on the move to the through the zone. So that you can get 7 pips here, pull back, get another 7 pips here. That's 14 pips for the day. That's if you're doing 2% lot sizes for 2% of your account. That's your daily target. You just made 2% for the day.
And see, your trader just heard 2% for the day and was happy in the background there. I noticed that. Then we're gone. It sounds what they said.
Yeah.
Then we're gone. 2%. Then we're gone.
I think Grandpa will have that little guy trading in no time.
Yeah, it won't be long. I think we're going to have the same kind of look as we had. Was this a 1 minute chart? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. About 10 minutes ago where it flattens out a bit. I think we're going to flatten out a little bit here. And then we're going to continue.
Yeah, so that right now, this one still could be in play. We'll wait and see what happens on this pullback.
I will be back at 9, ready to go.
Let's see how, oops, it's down here.
Do you make adjustments on your 1 minute chart like that normally?
I actually just, the only time I make adjustments is when I grab the wrong line, I have to move it. But yeah, this one, I'm trying to get the Fibonacci. I'm trying to catch this fib line and catch where the bottom of this was. Because as this thing starts to pull back, I want to be able to use the pullback to the, again, the next 23 to 50. And if it pulls back to 61, that's okay too. But this is I look to see if I like to see it close above the 23 if I can. But a lot of times you just get sometimes when there's really strong moves, it only pulls back a little bit and then it goes back even stronger down. So
just
I
like the
23 to 50.
10 candles ago. See how that movement 10 candles ago, 11 candles ago? That's what I think we're going to do again.
Yeah. So if we had it up here. You can see like this slow move right here came back down. Got the close above the 23. It just kind of wicked up towards the 38, and then it came back down. Made another nice big move. And again, you're just looking for the strong moves to the bottom. There's the top. So this is a strong move. Now looking for the retrace. Here's a 23%, closed above the 23. This thing could come back down again. You could take another trade on this one possibly, as it's coming into the third. Another sell on this one. And my target, again, now my stop is going to be up here, probably above this zone. Modify 70, 150. So my stop is way up here. I can bring my stop way down, lower to that. I'll keep it above this higher line. So I have a really tight stop. Then we'll see if it comes down and hits this next next target. If I start seeing this green line start crossing and closing above the yellow and tagging above this, if this is still for the major trend, I'm still looking at this blue line. The yellow one's still holding, and the moving averages are just curling over and coming back down again. So right now, as long as this thing stays below this blue zone or below this blue moving average, we should be good for this for the next target area. And we have about another 15 minutes. So let's see. What else do we have looking at here? This has been actually a nice one for the demonstration purposes. You still have to respect these green zones because they will play with you a little bit. You can see we had a nice move down, a pullback, nice move down, shorter pullback. This is probably where you had that little 23% pullback. Strong move down. This may come back down, retest this area right up in here. This is actually now the new 20% zone on this down move. We still want to see a pullback and respect this moving average. There's a good chance it's going to get down and retest. Here's a drop, a base, a drop, coming back to retest the base. If it breaks through here, breaks through the trend line, it's probably going to go up higher and retest this trend line. Right now, it's still behaving itself.
Rajiv would like to have a look at the Aussie US on the 15 minute for a possible short.
Aussie US. Okay. $15-minute short. Okay, we have a little signal on that one. Put my moving averages in here. Templates, load. And we have a bounce, arrow, go. It's the kind of range we have here.
I'm short this on a long-term swing.
Yeah, that's on a 14. You got 14. That's not too bad of a target area. A nice little pullback. Pull back 61% of this down move down and new target. You could take this for 7 pips. Go on a 1 minute chart and see if there's anything that's making the pullback or not.
Moving averages are good.
Moving averages are real good, and let's see, what do we have here? That
Your battle will be that whole number, 7,500.
Yeah.
Initially.
This is a bag. This is a nice little bag trade, though. This one I'd probably be looking at doing a sell stop. Let's see, where's the 15-minute? So it's right on this candle right there at the 75.02. we'll let this thing do its little pullback. If these moving averages cross, we may just want to be a little bit more aware of this one. A lot of times the back trades, you can just take it if they have the range. It was a little tight on the 20 pip target with a 40 pip stop. A lot of times the 40 pip stop is still give you lots of wiggle room. We're just trying to keep our stops a little bit tighter so we can take larger position sizes. So again, a little bit of a pullback on this one. A little pullback on Euro US as well. Aussie US, let's see what the Aussie US is doing. The US is strong, the Aussie is weak. The US is strong, the US is strong all the way across. So we want to trade to the strength of the US. US is the second currency, so you want to trade to this short side. Yep.
Did we have U.S. news this morning, Al?
Not until about 2 o'clock this afternoon. There was some US around 2 o'clock.
Just wondering because the S&P is really going down quick.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, sure. Boy, sure is.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost at my.
Complaining.
No, I didn't make my high to get out of my trade, so.
It will.
Yeah, probably will. Yeah, I'll just give it time. I would say with this one, if we could do if this thing can kind of come up, we'll see how it works with this moving average right here. It's coming up and retesting this arrow. This is the second arrow. It's coming right up into the zone. I said this zone still is not a bad zone to be working on. So we move this high to this low, pulling back to the 23 of that big move. If we can get a nice little bounce off of this moving average with the close with a little bit of a wick, then I can maybe do a sell stop, look for that target. We have the crossover of the green crossing the yellow. Right now, we're just looking for see how far it's going to pull back before it crosses back over again. Had a nice little move out here. You can see it came back up, couldn't cross the yellow, came back down. Now it's making the cross. And so we have a little bit of a range right up in here. This is the last high that it made. If it can break through that high, it's going up higher. If it can hold and retrace back, then we might have a trade. Here's a pivot. Let me do this. Let's get to our 15-minute chart and see what we have for the range here. Get some zones in here so I know where we're at. Can everybody still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Anybody hear me again?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I think I lost everybody.
Trying to get rid of us or what?
No, I had to switch my earbuds.
Okay.
Switch
You hear me now?
the earbuds. Yeah, I hear you now. We should be all good. Pull back. There we go. This is coming out of the lower 20. This thing could start turning around here. Here's a move down. Here's our lower 25. Here's the upper 25. There's the middle zone. Came back down, base, came back down, retesting, coming back down. Now we have this little area right here with this little trend line that we're looking at from here to here. We'll see how far down this thing will go. I'm a little bit leery about taking this thing short right now, just because it's bouncing off and it's inside our daily range right now. This was yesterday's low. We could actually take this fib line over to here. Readjust our ranges. The high is the same, but the low is a little different. There's over 25.
Two-minute warning, Al.
Okay, thank you. There we go. That's our range. This upper 25, lower 25. Here's the range is coming out of that. We also have this little, now it's pulled back. You take this out of here. I'll just get rid of this fib line. And now we're going to look and see where the down move is with the retracement and pullback. So here's the first down move. Let's just take this one all the way down here. Retrace back to 50 to 61%. So then the target would be, the extension would be down in this area. To 50, 61%. This would be the target zone. Based on this move up to the 50, 60 from down here, came back up, 50, 60, overshoot down this area. So this would be, it'd have to get through this green zone right now, which I think it could do. And that's about all I have to say about that one. Let's take a look at this Euro US before we go, see if there's anything we need to be rethinking. So having a strong pullback is trending, is breaking my trend line, came back down. I think I'm just going to pull this trade. If it comes back up and if it comes back in, gives me another opportunity to get back in, I'll re-engage it. But right now, I don't want to, it was already 10 pips against me and it seems like it's changing direction right now. So I'll bail on that trade. So with that, we're just about ready to close this thing up for today. Any last minute questions before we go? We got, I don't know if anybody's in the 9 to 12 o'clock session today. They may or may not be, I'm not sure. But thanks again, everybody, for coming in. Hope you had at least one good trade today. And we'll talk to you later.
Good stuff. Good stuff, Al. Thanks again.
Thanks. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Eva.
Hey, no worries.
And we'll see everybody tomorrow morning at 7:30.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right. See you all tomorrow.
Bye-bye.